Las Vegas played host to the final numbered event of the year, and what a night it was at the T-Mobile Arena for UFC 323. A dramatic end to the co-main event after a grisly injury ends Alexandre Pantoja's reign, and Joshua Van is the new UFC Flyweight champion. And in the main event, Petr Yan defies the odds and becomes just the third fighter to reclaim the Bantamweight title in a thrilling victory over Merab Dvalishvili. Welcome to Fight Week on TNT Sports and Discovery Plus. This is your review of UFC 323. I'm Adam Catterall. It is a pleasure, as always, to be with you and to be with these two. The smiling assassin himself, Mr. Nicholas Peet, and the Hall of Famer, Mr. Michael Bisping, to review the final numbered card of 2025. Headlines after headlines after headlines, Mike. They've gone out on a bang, mate. Oh, what a night in Vegas.
I mean, where do we start? Right from the opening fight last night, it was sensational. And the action, the surprises, the shocks, the breaks, the performances did not stop. And of course, that main event, unbelievable. One of the best fights that you will see in recent history. That's the type of fight that makes you proud to be an MMA fan and to cover this sport. What Merab Dvalishvili did and Petr Yan, they put on a spectacular display of mixed martial arts. Take a bow, both men.
And of course, Nick, you will have an amazing amount of empathy for your man, Alexandre Pantoja, being a man that has suffered a serious injury yourself of late, my friend. And obviously he was on the receiving end in the co-main event.
Dislocated shoulders or elbows or whatever it was, and not to be sniffed at. I'm telling you now, I still can't reach to the top shelf in the supermarket to get anything down. I'm still struggling, but yeah, listen, dramatic end. It throws a whole new look on this flyweight division heading into 2026. Phenomenal stuff. What a card last night. I'm still reveling from it, to be honest with you.
Listen, we're going to get stuck into it all, but first, before we do get stuck into it, obviously, we had changing of the guard in two divisions here. So the belts changed hands once again, and by my reckoning, that is every single belt bar one in the UFC this calendar year at some point has changed hands, Mike. They're like hot potatoes. Unbelievable.
What is the one belt that hasn't? Because you've got all the stats and the info there right in front of you. But come on, what's that one belt that hasn't changed hands?
Well, I've no doubt that Nick's about to jump in and tell us that the belt that hasn't changed hands is the one held by Valentina Shevchenko. But everything else has gone all over the place, whether it be people going up in weight and having to vacate, whether it be people being upgraded. Every single belt from the start of 2025, bar one, has now got a new owner at the end of the year. Unbelievable.
And none of them were more, I won't say shocking, but I don't think anyone saw Merab Dvalishvili losing his belt. Of course, as we know, the storyline going into this one was that he was trying to defend the belt 4 times in a calendar year, which is crazy, which is nuts, but that just falls right into what Merab Dvalishvili tries to do and the kind of persona that he has. Against Yan, it just wasn't his night. Petr Yan was phenomenal. We know the first fight, Merab ran away with it in every sense of the word. This time, Petr Yan showed up and he looked absolutely sensational. Merab, of course, started off as he always does, but Yan stayed so calm and composed. He picked his shots. He was very precise. He wasn't panicked. He defended takedowns perfectly. And then slowly but surely, the longer the fight went on, the more in control he was. He rocked him. He stopped takedowns. He got takedowns of his own. He kicked him to the body. We heard audible shouts from Merab going, ah! He was hurt. Then he goes back to the body, kicks him in the head, takes him down, picks him apart. The jab was phenomenal. I mean, the performance from Petr Yan was just sublime. It really was. It was calm, composed. He was precise. And on the flip side, Merab never stopped trying. All credit to the guy. His face was black and blue. He was covered in blood. Yan was covered in Merab's blood as well. Merab kept him honest, he kept trying, but it just wasn't enough. It was a complete shutout from Petr Yan.
On the preview show, Nick, you said that the key to victory was going to be hurting Merab and hurting him early, giving him something to think about. And although I think most of us would be unanimous in this, that Merab takes that first round, there's evidence in that first round where Petr Yan was getting some stinging shots off.
Yeah, I actually thought Yan won the first round as well. You know, I thought he just edged it. And you're right, listen, there's an old saying in boxing, a big right hand will take you around the block. a great jab will take you around the world. And everything was based off that jab. It was phenomenal. He holds it out as a bit of a range finder as he does. It just allowed him to keep Merab at the end of that fist. And then when he wanted to fire that backhand, when he wanted to fire in those body kicks, he did so well. He picked them off. But the jab's no good if your takedown defense isn't absolutely on point as well. And where's Yan been since he lost to Merab? He's been putting the work in. I talked about the fact that once you're the king, once you're the guy at the top of the division, everybody, regardless of what training camp they're going into and who they're fighting next, everyone's got one eye on you. So everybody knows by the time they get to you, they've got to have a certain game plan on point and ready to go. And it just felt like last night, Petr Yan has done the work over the last couple of years to get himself in the perfect position to do one thing and one thing only. That is defeat Merab Dvalishvili. And he did it, and he did it in absolute style. He was Merab's kryptonite last night. And yes, listen, 4 times in a year, 4 fight camps, make him wait. I get it. It's tough. There's a reason why no one's ever done it before. But it had nothing to do with Merab's conditioning. It had everything to do with Petr Yan's game plan and his conditioning. He was ready, he was on point, and he's the new champion for a reason.
Yeah, listen, it also breathes new life, I suppose, into the division for 2026, Nick. And there'll be a few runners and riders that have got dates already that are going to be licking the chops at putting on performances at the start of the year to hopefully get themselves a title shot now on against the new champion in Petr Yan. From a Merab point of view, I don't know where you're at, mate. I just like him to maybe take a little bit of a rest. 4 in 1 year was a lot. Take a bit of a break. He's absolutely not out the picture. And maybe in the summer of 2026, we can get him back in that octagon.
Yeah, listen, in recent times, we've been blessed with some of these UFC champions and their activity, but it's caught up with them all. Volkanovski won too many fights, trying to fit too many in. Same thing with Alex Pereira. Same thing with Israel Adesanya. We love the activity. We love champions who are busy and feeling themselves and want to get out as often as possible. But there's a reason why these fight camps take it out of you. There's a reason why that a game plan has to be planned out and nutrition plans. You need your body to switch off. You need to be able to switch off mentally as well.
You know, Merab, we love him for the activity, but it does come at a cost. You have to respect the sport and you have to respect the toll that it takes on your body. These training camps are so taxing, mentally and physically. They destroy you. There's so much pressure. There's so much activity, so much work. And then the nutrition side, Merab doesn't really work with a nutritionist. The way that he cuts weight, he just starves himself from Tuesday, essentially. That all catches up with you. Not taking away from Petr Yan's performance. That's not fair to do that. But I think that Merab maybe didn't respect the game quite enough because that's who he is. And that's why we love him. But I would say let the division play out. Let Petr Yan fight Umar Nurmagomedov. Merab should take 4, 5, 6 months off. Enjoy the spoils of your riches and then come back refreshed, rested and ready to go.
I agree completely with that matchup, but there'll be a certain Sugar Sean O'Malley with his eyes on that, given the fact that he's matched up with Song Yudong at the start of the year. Exciting times ahead, anyway, at Bantamweight. And a little bit of a flux in the Flyweight division as well, because we don't know the length of time regarding the injury of Alexandre Pantoja, so therefore I've no doubt there's a few runners and riders now chirping up, wanting a shot at the new king, that is Joshua Van. Now, winning the belt is winning the belt. He might not necessarily have dreamed of winning it this particular way, but he is the champion. Joshua Van is the new Flyweight king, Mike.
But he certainly dreamed of winning the belt, and last night that became a reality. Very disappointing for Alejandro Pantoja. No one wants to lose a fight like that, but becoming the champion, you'll take it any way it comes, because the reality is he has been working hard the majority of his life for this moment, right? Pantoja goes out, typical fashion, very, very aggressive right from the get-go, throws a few punches, throws a head kick, kind of catches it. He's getting forced onto his back, puts his arm out to stop himself. And that's it. That's all she wrote. It wasn't because of the brilliance of Joshua Van. We all know this. It was just a very unfortunate circumstances. Sometimes stuff like this does go wrong. The human body, you put your arm down, it was too much pressure on the elbow, the shoulder. There's a lot of debate online. It looked like the elbow to me. People are saying it was the shoulder. It doesn't matter. We saw that he was injured. He couldn't continue. Tremendous for Joshua Van. I have no problem with him jumping on top of the octagon and celebrating, because this is a moment that you dream of when you're a little kid, when you first see the UFC, when you first walk into a boxing gym, an MMA gym, a BJJ gym, whatever it is. If you're an MMA fan, that's the moment. You look at everyone, you think, wow, I would love to experience that someday. He got to experience that. Fair play to him. He earned that position. It's devastating for Pantoja. He'll be back. I don't know about this year, maybe the end of the year, but he's definitely going to need surgery and he'll be out for quite some time.
Yeah, and that's concerning, isn't it, Nick? Because of the age that he's at and where he's at in his career, injuries like that, they're bad ones. And you just hope that this isn't the end at championship level or even his career.
Yeah, and that's the concerning thing, you know. And as you say, once you hit a certain age, and 35 seems to be a bit of a golden number, everything slows down, and that includes recovery rate as well. And Pantoja's going to feel that. He isn't going to bounce back from this injury and bounce back from it quickly. He is more than likely going to need some kind of surgery, at very least a long period of rehabilitation. No doubt when he does come back firing on all cylinders, he will get an opportunity to fight for the belt once more. This was going to be his 5th consecutive UFC title defense. And, you know, heading into this fight, let's be honest, we were kind of like, is there anybody in this flyweight division? The UFC were bringing in guys, champions from outside the organisation, giving them straight shots at Pantoja. You could even argue, well, you'd be right in saying Joshua Van was kind of fast-tracked and given big opportunities in a short space of time to try and make him a viable challenger, which he did and became a viable challenger, of course. So Pantoja will get his shot again at the belt, but again, he's slowing down. He's at an age now, a period of his life where, love it or hate it, his body will take a lot longer to recover. And the time he has out now, from today until the day he comes back, every day is just, you know, the sport moves forward so quickly. And we're going to come on to talk about Henry Cejudo against the young stars shortly. The sport moves on so quickly, and while the mind is willing, the body ain't. And that split second miss that you get, the older you get, that split second off, ultimately catches up with you. Pantoja will be back, but will he be the same cannibal he was headed into the cage last night? Undoubtedly not. Is he still going to be able to win the belt back? Only time will tell. But for now, I'm with Mike. Listen, Joshua Van got to climb on that cage, got the belt wrapped around his waist, got to give it to his mother and look at his family and friends and have that moment. Regardless of how it happens, that's his moment. He deserves it. And he's going to be an exciting champion to look at in 2026.
Here's a stat to make you feel old, boys. Joshua Van, first UFC champion, born in the 2000s.
Wow.
Congratulations to him. Fantastic victory indeed.
24
and exciting
years
times
old,
ahead. Fantastic times ahead, because obviously we had a great performance from Horiguchi last week. He's chomping at the bit. You've got the Royval and Cat fight coming up next week, which could determine something there for him. I know he's already been with Royval, but it was a very close, brilliant fight that we all enjoyed in the middle of the year. And of course, we had this from Tatsuro Taira. A brilliant performance against Brandon Moreno. Knocking down the door for a title shot, you think, Mike?
100%, and certainly when you factor in everything we were just talking about. So Tatsuro Taira goes out, goes for the takedown, gets caught in an inverted triangle and spends the majority of the round there. The crowd was getting frustrated. It was a little bit one of those. It was a stalemate. He had him in the triangle. It wasn't fully locked in, but of course Moreno's going to keep trying to go for that because, you know, it's a potential fight finisher right there. Second round starts. He comes out. He looks phenomenal. He's picking him apart. He's landing shots. He gets a takedown, lands him out. Bish, bash, bosh. That's it. It's done. Moreno turns around, trying to get away. He's face down on the canvas. Taira's raining down. Heavy, heavy blows. Of course, the referee's going to step in and stop the fight. Unbelievable. And I'm telling you, the man will fight for a title next. Dana last night at the post-fight presser was talking about maybe going to Japan. Now, I fly all over the world for the UFC. I go everywhere. I've never been to Japan. I started off doing Japanese jiu-jitsu. And if they dare go to Japan and not send me, I go to Saudi Arabia, I go to Australia, I go to Shanghai, I go to Macau, I go to Baku, I go to Azerbaijan, okay? I've never been to Japan. If they go to Japan and I'm not there, I quit.
He doesn't mean that. He doesn't mean it.
No, he doesn't mean that. He doesn't mean that at all. He's not quitting at all. Nick, you've got to take your flowers here, mate, because you called this. I mean, you saw something in Taira where you thought that he could shine against a former champion, and he most certainly did that.
Yeah, even that one loss on his record against Royval, that was so close, that split decision. And, you know, what is he, 25 years of age? He's got this incredible record, but he also was a very good amateur as well. He's part of this next generation of fighters like Joshua Van that heavily start on the amateur side of the game as well, you know, and really earn the craft on the amateur scene before then they even turn pro. So while he's got 17 wins, we'll throw another 10 wins on from his amateur days. He's kind of seen it all, seen every style. And if you notice, he didn't panic in the first round when Moreno kind of had him in that stacked triangle position. He wasn't bothered. He came out second round, got back on his game. When the opportunity posed itself, he absolutely went for it, opened the kitchen sink. Moreno was covering up. Did the referee jump in a little bit prematurely? Well, maybe that's a fair argument, but was Moreno intelligently defending himself? Well, no, he wasn't. So maybe it was a correct stoppage, but either way, Taira needed a statement. He needed a moment to make a statement against the former two-time champion to make him next. We thought he'd be next for Pantoja. As it turns out, he's next for Van. And now we've got two guys, 24 and 25 years of age, all set up to contest the UFC Flyweight title. A belt that at one stage, not too long ago, the UFC were even thinking of shelving. Now, it's got a bright future.
From one former champion involved in a changing of the guard to another. It wasn't the night that he dreamt of, Henry Cejudo. He came up against a very, very valiant Petr Talbott, who is definitely the next generation of this division. But Mike, we've got to start with Henry. Going out on his shield against the next generation. It was Petr Talbott's night against Henry Cejudo, Mike.
Listen, of course, all fighters, they want to go out with a win. But you know what's a close second? Going out on your shield the way that Henry Cejudo did, going out against a top prospect that has bags of potential and maybe a champion one day. And yeah, getting dominated, getting battered, being bruised and blooded by the end of the fight, but standing there, going toe-to-toe and giving it your all. Petr Talbott looked phenomenal. He looked twice the size of Henry Cejudo, by the way, as well. Picked him apart, beautiful shots, took him down in the first round, got that inside trip, then he took him down again. Nobody saw that coming, and it looked like it was going to be an early finish for Petr Talbott and Cejudo going away. But he came back in round 2 and round 3, bit down on his mouthpiece. Yes, he was coming up short, okay? He was coming up short, and he clearly lost the fight. But he won the respect of everyone in the audience. Everyone knows the career that he's had over the years. It's unbelievable what he's achieved in the Olympics and in the UFC. Last night belonged to Petr Talbott, but we've got to sit there and say fair play to Henry Cejudo. The king of cringe and all that stuff kind of sometimes overshadows what he does inside the octagon. The man is phenomenal. He should be proud of the performance he put in last night. 38 years old, going up against some of the best young, up-and-coming prospects in the sport and giving it his all. Fair play.
No, absolutely. Couldn't agree more. But this is how the UFC build the next generation of star, isn't it, Nick? You've seen it on many, many occasions where they put the next generation in with the legends, and he did not disappoint, Petr Talbott.
No, he was phenomenal, you know, and he's looked phenomenal since that loss, suffering that loss on his record against Barcelos. He bounced back, didn't he, in the summer against Felipe Lima. That was a big test for him. He looked great. But on Saturday night, this performance against Henry Cejudo, and this wasn't a 38-year-old, all washed up, got nothing left to offer, just having one last swan song for the sake of it, Henry Cejudo. This was a motivated, I want to go out on a high, I'm willing to leave it all in there and go to the well, Henry Cejudo. And in round 2, a proper war broke out. You know, there was a point in round 2 where the two of them were just throwing everything at each other. But Petr Talbott took his licks, brushed himself off and kept going. And he was the sharper guy, the faster guy, the more creative guy. And it was the work to the body. He just hammered Henry to the body. And that's what he should be doing. If you're 27 years of age, you're going in with a 38-year-old with all those miles on the clock, you hit the body and you hit it early. You keep going and you slow him down. And that's exactly what he did. And by the end of the fight, listen, Henry was busted up. He'd had enough. It was the perfect way for Henry Cejudo to sign off, because there's no arguing now. There's no more contemplating. There's no more maybe, coulda, woulda, shouldas. No. This generation, the next generation, has caught up with you. Your time inside the octagon is done. Thank you for everything. Enjoy the Hall of Fame. Now, let's move the sport forward, and Petr Talbott is the future of this weight division.
He is, and a big 2026 is coming his way. What I loved at the end Mike, and listen, I'm sure you've been there, mate, with these thoughts in your head as a fighter. Just seeing Henry have that conversation with Dana, have that conversation with Hunter. He was on his knees, just contemplating what happened over the last 15 minutes and realise sometimes you just got to get in there to find out whether it's still there. And there was that realisation dawning upon him that the time now was coming to an end.
Yeah, I mean, you can't argue with it. I mean, he just went up there against Peyton Talbott and he was soundly beaten. He gave a good account of himself and he reminded the world what he is capable of and the kind of warrior spirit, for one of a less cheesy term, right? But that's what he showed, that he's still that guy, but he's just getting older and the sport passes you by and the younger generation comes along. But I love the attitude from Henry all week and I loved what he said. He's in such a position of gratitude because the UFC and combat sports has changed his life, okay? This young kid that didn't have it easy growing up became an Olympic medalist, gold medalist at that, and a two-weight division champion in the UFC. He'll have a massive fat stacked bank account. He's building a house. He's got a family. It's the American dream, as they all quote out here. It truly is, and it's unbelievable what he achieved. He should be very, very proud of himself and go off and pursue whatever he does next. No doubt it's going to be cringy. No doubt it's going to be annoying. No doubt he's going to remind everyone why he was called the king of cringe, but fair play, good luck, bon voyage.
Absolutely. Little tip of the cap as well to the UFC. I've been one of those people that have been critical about how they treat legends and maybe just let them clear off into the sunset. We were all lucky enough to be there with the way that they created that fantastic package for Robbie Lawler that night, and it was absolutely sensational. Fingers crossed this is a sign of things going forward, getting that all pre-prepared for Henry Cejudo so he could get a good send-off with the fans at the T-Mobile Arena. I thought it was absolutely fantastic. Now then, the fight that kicked off the main card, boys. Light heavyweights on deck. I made the prediction that this could be a changing of the guard as well. Yan Blachowicz is having none of it in that final round. I thought, here we go, Guskov's taking over. He's just had a 10-8. Run away, sunshine. But that Polish power just would not go away. We ended up with a draw, Mike.
Yes. Yan Blachowicz might just be the most unlucky person in the UFC light heavyweight division because he's just he has these situations that happen that just hold him back. Remember, he had a fight for the belt against Magomed Ankalaev and it went to a draw. Then he fights Alex Pereira. It's a close fight. A lot of people thought he could have won that, but he didn't get the decision. Carlos Ulberg, the #1 contender, could have, maybe should have won that fight, but he didn't. Then he has a good fight against Bogdan Guskov. Looks really good in the opening round, butchering the leg kick, picking him apart, looking nice and composed. Gets clipped in the second round, dropped, ground and pounded for a little bit, loses a 10-8 round, comes back in the third, wins the third round, and what do we get? Another draw. So this guy's just in limbo. He's clearly still got it at 42 years old. Fair play to Bogdan Guskov because it takes two to tango because all the storylines are around Yan Blachowicz having another draw. Poor fella. But it was a great fight. He showed he still got it. He still belongs. But a draw, it doesn't do anything for anyone. But that's just the way it goes. And I'm glad that they did score at a 10-8 because technically, according to the rule book, that is a 10-8 round.
Yeah, listen, I completely agree that it was a draw, Nick. I don't know where you're at. And do you know something? It's actually an entertaining draw. I don't mind them running it back. Go again.
That's a good shout, actually. I think Guskov was his fight to lose after 2 rounds. You're right. Listen, the second round ticked all the boxes, didn't it? Dominance, duration, damage, all scored by Guskov. No arguing it. The clearest 10-8 round we've seen all night. But then Yan comes out for round 3, and you're like, where does this come from? Where does this spirit? Because I know Yan kicked off the card, but for the rest of the card on Saturday night, the young guys had the victory over the old guys. The whole card was a passing of the torch to the younger generation, if you like. But Yan was absolutely having none of it in the first fight on the main card because he just refused to be beat. And I'm like, Mike, I kind of feel from him, I'm like, poor old Yan, man, where does this leave him heading into 2026? You know, he's come through a bunch of fights there where he's just narrowly short. There's a narrative in every one of those losses, or in this case, 2 draws as well. But he hasn't won a fight since 2022.
Yeah.
That is mental when you see the level he's at. This the reason why he's still ranked number 5 in the world, but he's not won a fight now in 4 years as we head into 2026. So, crazy predicament.
Listen, fantastic main card, with all due respect. nothing like the prelims. Prelims were unreal. Are we ready for this, gentlemen? Are we ready for this? The lads got the memo, Mike. The fight that you picked on the prelims, McKinney versus Duncan. They obviously watched the show. You told them what to do, and boy, did they do it. Unbelievable.
I mean, Terence McKinney, he's the most violent first-minute fighter the world's ever seen. In the first minute, you know you are going to get beaten black and blue from pillar to post all over the octagon. Fortunately for Chris Duncan, he's cut from that kind of cloth from Northern Scotland, so yes.
There you go.
He takes a licking and he kept on going, and he did look good, man. It looked like he was going to get done. Lesser men would have folded. They would have been knocked out. Terence McKinney would have had his arm raised, but of course, Chris Duncan's made from stronger stuff. He bounces back, he'd land some shots. He almost knocked out Terence McKinney a couple of times, but McKinney's still just that kind of fighter. He's almost knocked out, but he's still coming forward, still throwing, still keeping him honest. So then in the end, Chris Duncan had to switch to an anaconda. Just 2 minutes 30 of all-out, utter madness. Take a bow, both men, but Chris Duncan, the man is a problem by name, a problem by nature, as he reminded everyone on the microphone.
Yeah, naughty little elbow on the inside, and then, as Mike said, jumping on that anaconda. Awesome. There was also a fantastic knockout in the featured prelim, which you highlighted, Nick. Manuel Torres, is he going to take us to Spain? Come on, all aboard.
Well, I remember after the Chris Duncan fight, I'm thinking, well, I won't see a better 150 seconds of fighting tonight, that's for sure. And then Manuel Torres and Grant Dawson get in there, and we get 145 seconds of utter chaos as well. Grant Dawson kind of did nothing wrong early on. You think, okay, yeah, he's touching him up a little bit. Come on, Mr. Torres, you're the first round guy. Let's see what you've got. Completely different from Terence McKinney, even though Torres has got this incredible record. That record, by the way, 16 first round finishes. His last 10 wins have been 10 consecutive first round finishes. 5 bonuses in there as well. This guy is a finish machine, but he isn't Terence McKinney. He takes his time. He's having a look. He's letting Grant Dawson get his confidence up, and then in the blink of an eye, he absolutely just lets his hands go. And when he does, when he touches you, people go to sleep. And that's what Torres done here. It was unbelievable. Another performance bonus for him. This guy is 100% legit. And we must be getting closer to this Spanish card by now. We've got a champion and we've got a co-main event. Come on.
Listen, Nick, I'm going to take you 2 minutes 30 and 2 minutes 35. And I'm going to raise them 1 minute 30 because Ivo versus Ibo on the early prelims, Mr. Bisping. It is the 2025 Czech Congo Pat Barry. They had it. Sensational.
Oh, they certainly did, but so did everyone on the prelims. As we said, the first fight of the night, that ended in the 3rd round, but it was a knockout. Then we had Mansour Abdelmalik knocking out Anthony Tricoli in 69 seconds. Then we had 1 minute 29 of just pure violence, carnage, action, whatever you want to call it, explosivity in the octagon. Ivo versus Ibo. Do yourself a favor. Find that fight. If you did not see it, it was just madness. Ibo goes forward, looks like he's going to finish Ivo. Ivo cracks him back. Both men hit the canvas on multiple occasions, and just the pair of them, it was calculated madness. It wasn't calculated. There
was no calculation about that. They were having
swing, boom, boom. Beating each other up, dropping each other left, right, and centre until, of course, one of them was done. Ibo Aslan gets finished. What a fight. The prelims were fantastic. What a way to start a night.
It was. And what a way to end a year. It was some show, UFC 323. We are going to be back on New Year's Day with a New Year's wrap-up, if that's the way to phrase that, where we're looking back at the last 12 months of quite topsy-turvy year. As I said at the start of the show, those belts changing hand for fun throughout the course of the last 12 months. New champions coming, new champions going. It has been an epic year, so make sure you come and join us for that. And, of course, stick with TNT Sports and Discovery Plus into 2026 as we get the show back on the road. But for now, UFC 323 is in the books. What an incredible way to finish out the year. A dramatic end to the co-main event as injury ends Alexandre Pantoja's flyweight reign. And Joshua Van is the new champion at 125 pounds. And Petr Yan defies the odds, outscoring Merab Dvalishvili over 5 rounds to reclaim the UFC Bantamweight belt. See you next time.